Welcome to the Metamorphosis Project Podcast. I'm your host, Tina Eichenberg, and this is a space where transformation begins. Here, we dive deep into energy healing, self-care, and the power of mindset to help you break free from old patterns and design a life that feels aligned, vibrant, and authentically you. Each week, we explore the tools, techniques, and real-life experience that guide us toward lasting healing and growth. Because true metamorphosis isn't just about change. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. Now, let's get into this week's conversation. Welcome back to the Metamorphosis Project Podcast. And today I have a very special guest, Pete from Pete versus Anxiety, or Anxiety versus Pete.
Pete versus Anxiety.
Pete, that's right, because you are a force to be reckoned with when it comes to mental wellness. And I was on your podcast a few months ago, and I have listened to your podcast ever since then, off and on, and it's always inspiring. And so I first want to thank you for putting yourself out there in such a vulnerable position and telling your story, but also you're sharing many tips that help others.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a journey since, the beginning to where I'm now. If anybody that's watched it from the beginning to now, you'll notice that the evolution of Pete happens right before your eyes. Like, it's a self-discovery journey. It first started to be just more awareness of mental health, but then it added on to just like a self-discovery because everybody meet is somebody new. And then like we discussed about energy. I was like, I didn't even know any of this stuff existed until I met somebody that told me about it, and then started explaining these weird sensations I was having. And and it's just been a joyride ever since. And it's like everybody you meet, they add new things to your toolkit. Like
Mm-hmm.
the other day I met the founder of something called helphub.co, which gets all your mental health needs in one spot only. This woman told me that if you would have taken everything, lined it out, she said you couldn't even scroll down the page. That's how many different subs categories she has, things like that too. So, but I mean, I feel like, mental health needs to be talked about more, obviously, with the growing rate of suicides and things like that going up and all these other things that are going on. It's just like, nobody's talking about it. It's like, it's a quick hot button issue for people. Oh, look, May's Mental Health Awareness Month. Let me go make a bunch of videos and then I'll stop talking about the conversation
Right.
like it doesn't exist. It's like, okay, cool, but it still exists for all of us that deal with these problems. And a lot of people don't even realize they have problems. Like, I didn't even realize I had issues until I started doing this podcast because I started therapy right before I started. And that's what brought me into this like idea. But what got me really going was I did a men's mental health episode of my first podcast I was working on. And that just opened my eyes. It's like I'm in the second most highest rate of people to take their lives. And it's like, whoa, hold on, why are we not doing anything about this? So then I took a month off and was like just sitting there thinking about what direction I should go because I wasn't happy with the direction we were going. We were having inappropriate conversations, which would have been great if it was just like, we all were on the same page, but it wasn't, and it got a little out of hand. So I was like, yeah, I need to stop and think about what I'm doing. And
Mm-hmm.
when I got into this space, the only advice I was given was that you need to be genuine because people can read through your crap. They'll know if you're fake or not, and people can
Right.
tell. So I know that's been hammered home since day one. Like as I've been doing these interviews, I really got selective of people I pick. I got some fun stuff, and then I do interviews with different musicians and things, and it's interesting to get their perspectives on what they think about mental health. And then as you get into it further, it gets more interesting because we at the beginning of the year had an interesting moment where somebody was talking about suicidal ideation. I thought people were going to lose their minds. They're like, "Oh God, is he okay?" I'm like, yeah, he's talking about it. Let's be
Right.
happy he's talking about this conversation because if he's
Right.
not saying anything,
It's the ones that don't come
hmm
forward that they're having these. And that was me when I found energy healing. That was
yeah,
me. I didn't tell anybody. Like I didn't even tell my husband until probably a year after I started healing that I had had those thoughts.
yeah,
Because it is ingrained in us to not talk about it because it's like that old video games are going to make you violent. It's like if you
yes,
talk about suicide, you're going to make other people want to think about suicide, or if you say that you're gay, you're going to make other people think that
yeah,
they want, right? It's that stupid, um I can't even think of the word, but just like it doesn't work that way.
no,
Like
it
we
doesn't.
need to
It's
talk about these things so that there's awareness, and so that people understand that they're not alone.
Yeah, I think that's the real key point of this, that we're not alone. A lot of people, that's what they feel like. They feel like they're alone, their burdens, these all these other feelings that come out. But it's like you're that scared to talk to somebody. It's almost the same thing as, like you said, like people, they're homosexual, they're coming out of the closet, kind of, the
Yeah.
proverbial phrase coming out of the closet of, them being scared to tell someone because they're not sure how somebody's gonna react. It's like that's it to us. It's funny because it's like, wow, but when you're in that situation, it's not funny because people don't know what to say. Like, they're
Right.
tormented by these things because they don't know what to tell you. Because there was a guy I interviewed, he's like, what is he, like 65 or so? He's real old though. When he was going to therapy, he told somebody he got sexually molested when he was 5, and 2 therapists told him at that time they didn't even address it. They actually just kind of cruised over it, which I thought it was like interesting.
Right.
But then I
Well,
had to
because they
realize,
probably weren't trained to deal with that,
yeah,
right? I
yeah.
mean,
See, that was the
therapists are
other thing too I
trained.
had to remember, is that
Yeah.
they weren't ready for those kind of situations then.
Right.
And then he didn't tell anybody for like 30 years until he told his wife. His wife was the first person he actually revealed that to. And I was like, wow. But I'm thinking, the whole time I'm thinking, I know there's a big generational gap. So what I'm about to hear, it's interesting to get the perspective of what it was like in the 1950s for someone to go through these kind of things and how these guys handled stuff.
Hmm.
Hell, they didn't even know PTSD was for the longest time. They called it shell shocked, and they thought only military guys were getting it.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was so interesting too. And these are all things I'm learning from people as they come on and talk to me. And I don't stay away from any subject. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. I read books. I read weird books. I'll do these other things. I take any kind of task on. I feel like any conversation is good enough to be had. Like, we talked about narcissism one episode, and I guess like 15 more people were texting me going, "Oh my God, I had to stop halfway through because this hit so hard home." I'm like,
Right.
I'm just sharing this person's experience. Well, hell, we haven't even gotten to mine. Yeah, let's get to mine. You know what I mean? Like, once we get into my shit, it gets real crazy, and I have to deal with the aftermath of these things, like my kids, they don't me and my kids don't have a great relationship because I was not the greatest person to be around. And now I'm dealing with those things. So, if any advice I give to anybody, it's like, get help right away. If you start feeling weird or you feel like something's not right, go make sure there's not something that you can address now, because you don't want
Right.
to end up like I am at this point. Fighting an uphill battle, having to sit on the outside looking in as these kids grow up, and they want nothing to do with me because I was such an evil person at the time. And I'm the one that can admit at first that it was, and to them, it's just like, I haven't even had a chance to say sorry to them yet because they won't even talk to me right now. But, yeah,
But you
it's
know what?
rough.
They may. You're doing the work now,
Yeah.
which a lot of parents don't do.
Yeah.
And I had to go through that myself with my own mom. And while she was going to therapy, and she was going to therapy, I don't think she was doing the work
Yeah.
necessarily that the therapist was suggesting that she needed to do, because she had a really hard time taking responsibility for her actions.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was the hardest part for my mom too, is that when my parents split up when I was 10 and she abandoned me at 10, when the way I reacted afterwards, I think is what really upset her, is that fact that she was telling people that I had coping issues,
Yeah.
that
Well,
I
you were
wasn't,
10. I mean, of
but it
course
turned
you're going
out
to
it
have
was
coping issues.
actually, it turned out that she was the one that had the coping issues, actually, because I went and saw a therapist. I don't remember the lady's name, real nice woman, enjoyed talking to her. But she told my mom that she had the problem, and my mom went ballistic.
Yeah.
Was like, no, I'm not the one with the issue. I was like, okay, whatever. And me and her have never had a really great relationship ever since then. And like, you'll never get her to admit to it. She always claims she never did these things. I never hit you. I never did these things. I never beat you up. All these things she'll claim she never did. She didn't. And it was different, I guess. In the '90s for us, and versus kids now, it's like we used to get hit with all the objects found. Like, people
Right.
think it's a joke, but your mom used to take that plastic spoon out and whoop your ass with it when you did something wrong, or like you could tell how mad she was based on how loud she's stomping up the stairs. Like it sounded like somebody was literally getting ready to break through those steps. Against her, whoa, 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 and then what she'd say next is, if she say your first and middle name, okay, you're gonna take a little whipping. But if she says your first, middle, last name, oh, you better get ready for DEFCON 3, man. She's ready to come in there and just wail on you.
Yeah.
And she'll deny it to this day. She'll like, oh, I never did that. I never did, because I was telling my kids that one time. It's like, yeah, your grandmother used to whoop my ass all the time. I never did those things, but I watched it though. My grandmother would say the same thing though. Oh, I never did those things to your mother too, and it was so interesting to watch, like, because the generations, she's doing the same thing her mom was doing, so like it wasn't really
Right.
shocking. And
Right.
then I started kind of doing the same thing, if you think about it, because I denied for a while what things I had done and things I've said and these things, but now I'm admitting to them, and I have to deal with the consequences of my own
Mm-hmm.
actions, and it's
Right.
hard, but it's like at the same time, I already know what I did wrong. I mean, I can't really say anything other than I'm sorry. I mean, at this point, and
Right. Right. And have you been able to, knowing what you've been through, what your mom has been through, have you been able to look at her from a different standpoint, going, my God,
now that I've done
she
a lot more interviews, yes.
right. Yeah. Yeah. You can kind of
It's
see that she was coming from a place of her trauma, just like you're coming from a place of your trauma.
Yeah.
The difference is you're taking responsibility for your own healing
Yeah.
when it comes to that trauma, which she hasn't done.
Yeah. No, no, she hasn't. I don't think she ever will. She's the type of person who always denies that she did anything wrong.
Right.
And this is the same woman where my brother, who's transgender now, had to come out and tell her that what he was planning to do, wrote a 3-page letter to this woman, and he was freaking out about what she was going to respond, and none of us knew what she was going to say either. So and
Hmm.
and now she's like, she wants to build a relationship, but now that I have this knowledge, it's like I'm looking at it from the other side of the other side of the mirror. It's like, maybe it isn't her fault that these things. These are the things she was taught through my
Right.
grandmother, and my grandmother exhibit the same thing, said the same. Oh, I never did these things. Or my mom would constantly say about, like, she'd lock us out of the house, or she'd swing at us from the front seat, kind of thing, and we're like, Spectre, bobbing and weaving and kind of things like that. And I think that's the hardest part though, is the forgiveness thing. It's like, I know I'm not going to get forgiveness from her. It's now I have to forgive myself, or I have to tell myself that I'm not going to get it forgiveness, so I'm going to have to let this go somehow. But it's such, I think, so much, all those years of building up, although, like, 30 plus years I've been dealing with it.
Hmm.
It's just, I think it's just so hard to hold it, because I hold a grudge really hard against it, because a lot of it, that's what I go back to when I get into really certain situations. I'll start freaking out. That's what the trigger is that I'll just go back, and I feel it back in that moment, like when I was 10, when my mom just dropped me off. It's like, how can you say you love me and then you just drop me off at
Right.
the doorstep, and then act like I'm just from what I was told, and I probably wasn't supposed to be told, is that she had basically told my dad that she wanted me to come back and stay with her, because he wasn't going to pay child support me to stay with him, and
Right.
to pay it to her. And I was like, what? Like, I bet you these conversations probably shouldn't have been happening at that age.
Right. Yeah, there's well, when our parents, and this is something I learned over the years, and there will, hopefully there will come a day where you can forgive your mom, because
Yeah.
holding on to that resentment and that anger does not do your body, your
Yeah.
mind, your heart, your soul any good. And I think you will definitely get there. I think you just have to go through, you have to go through that transition. So this isn't
Yeah.
your only transformation. You're
Yeah.
you're going to have, you've been introduced to this energy world, and that's going to open up a whole new level of healing for you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And
And
like I said, it's each person I meet, new things I get, new aspects I get.
yeah,
I think it becomes a little bit easier. Like, I called her, um, and that was a big step, because I haven't called her in forever. Like, we haven't talked on the phone much, and when we did, it didn't feel as awkward as it normally does. Like, I didn't get, like, my anxiety didn't kick through the roof completely. It went up a little bit, but not as bad as it used
right.
to
Well,
be.
you're human.
Yeah.
You're human, and you were doing something that you hadn't done in a very long time. And those triggers that are buried deep inside of that 10-year-old Pete
Yeah.
are still going to surface. And they could be even be younger than that, because that's just what you remember, right?
Yeah.
But kudos to you for taking that step to
Yeah.
to still have somewhat of a relationship, because you now have that understanding of where she was coming from. And this is not please, people don't come at me saying like, you're, what is it? Like when trauma happens and
Yeah.
we we take a break from our parents, and sometimes we take that break forever, and sometimes we need that break for a little while so that we can come back from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that's what was allowing you to be able to make that phone call, was you were able to see her from a different perspective. And as you've done your healing, your inner work, I'm sure that you have seen your outside world shift.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? And the funny thing that makes me laugh the most is that people know I do this podcast. I had somebody come up to me and say, "Hey, listen, I know you're going to understand this conversation," and then just start telling me their innermost thoughts. And I'm just like, this is so interesting because it went back to, because I had my birth chart done and we did an
Mm-hmm.
episode. I don't know if you've listened to that one yet. It was really interesting to find out these things that like people come tell me things all the time. Like they literally come up to me and go, well, I don't want to talk to you because I'm afraid I'm going to tell you something I don't want to say. And it makes me laugh because it's like, really? It's the reason you avoid me? Okay, whatever, you know. But some people like
Right.
they feel very good about telling me these things. Like a girl last night told me she was doing drugs, like some hardcore drugs. Well, I like cocaine and I was doing meth with my roommate, and I'm like, you probably shouldn't be doing those things, huh? No, no, I shouldn't. But you know, I don't know why I come tell you all these kind of things, but I tell you a lot of things. I'm just like, okay.
You've become a therapist without realizing that you're a therapist.
You know, and I've always had this ability to just connect with people on a deep level, you know, and a preacher actually is the one that told it to me. He was like, "Hey, has anyone ever told you that you basically connect to people on a deeper level?" And you know, it's strange. He's like, "I'm watching you interact with people, but everybody you interact with, it's so genuine." I'm like, "That's just me, man. I think, you know, it's just how I've always been." Like I tell people I hate customers. I hate people. I do sometimes because some people could just be a pain in your ass. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is, you know, and things like that too.
Yeah.
But it just, you know, it comes with the job. You know, I've done customer service almost all my life, and it's just like it's mentally draining at times because you know you're so worried about like what they're gonna say or what you're gonna say that's wrong and things like that and all that kind of stuff. So it
It
gets
gets draining.
crazy.
It does,
It
especially
does
around
after
the
a while.
holidays.
Oh God, yes. Well, you know, mask COVID was really rough too for people because they didn't want to wear masks and they were all arguing about it.
Yeah.
And you hear these stories of assaulting kids. I'm like, why, dude? You're mad at these kids for following procedure, what they're told to
Right.
do,
Right.
and
It's a
then you're mad at
mask.
them.
Just wear the mask. Like it's not really not that big of a deal. Okay, so your mom, so you've gone through this process of confronting
Yeah.
confronting your abandonment by your mom, living with your dad. Did you go back and live with your mom?
No, no.
Okay,
Once I
so
was
you've
with my
never
dad, it
you
was
never
it.
went back and lived with her. You stayed with your dad.
I'd only
Eh,
visit with her and stuff because like she had such like strict rules and I was just like dad's over here has complete freedom and I spent a lot of time by myself when I was with my dad too. So I was pretty much my own boss. Like I didn't have anybody telling me what to do 90% of the
Right. Why
time in
would
the
you want to
home.
give that up?
Right? Why give up freedom? I've tasted freedom
Right.
now. You know what I'm saying? It's
So,
just like,
yeah, so you started therapy
yep.
to deal with what pushed you in that direction to start therapy? What was that
Well,
aha moment that said, I need some help?
me and my wife had gotten into a disagreement. Okay, now mind you, my wife is a feisty Southern woman, and she's the type she'll put a fist in your face if you give her a reason to. But you know, we were having this disagreement. I don't remember what it was. She said something that just triggered me, and I blew up. And then all of a sudden, I'm just thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, "Whoa, what is going on here?" Because she responds with "okay." Now to everybody, it's just like, "Okay," she just said "okay," but the way she said "okay" just hit me like, "Oh, whoa, hold on, this is not right. I don't feel like something's right here." This feels wrong, you know, I shouldn't be doing this. And then it was that one thing where I knew I needed to get some help. It's like something's wrong. Something's causing me to get so mad over something she says that just triggers me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, and that was the point where I was just like, yeah, I got to do something with this. Like I've denied it for so many years. All these other things that have happened around me should have already been the going point for me to go get some help, and now all of a sudden I'm getting some help now, and it felt different because you know me and her, you know, when we got together, she was so understanding. It was so different than what my ex was like, you know. And when she said that to me, I don't know what it is or how she said it, just like it hit me deep in the soul because I was like, "Whoo, hold up! This doesn't." In my head, I'm thinking this doesn't feel right. I shouldn't be doing these things. Why am I yelling at her for something when she just made a comment about something? She's not doing it out of anger or spite. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm so used to the 15 years I spent with my narcissistic ex, you know, a lot of this stuff comes through and it's like, you
Right.
know, this she's
Right.
not the same
Those
person.
triggers, those patterns. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, but and then the thing with my mom too is inspiring is her because her mom have a relationship now and her mom abandoned her when she was younger too. So it's like I see that her and her mom can build something. I think that's what pushed me to just kind of start like trying to fix it with my mom too. It's just like if she can do it, why can't I do it? You know, even
Mm-hmm.
under all the shit they've been through, her mom came back, is back now and around, and they're building a relationship. Why can't I have that same thing?
Right.
So,
That's
and it,
wonderful.
but yeah, it was interesting to watch because it's like you know, and I every time you know she comes over, I usually try to give him space, and my wife's always like, "Well, she doesn't want you to ignore him." Like, I don't ignore your mother. I say hello to her. I have conversations with her when you're not home. It's not like
Yeah.
but when you guys are together, I try to give you guys your space. I just, what do they say? They say, "Oh, Pete goes and does his own thing." Because her husband asks, goes, you know, hey, your mother-in-law spends a lot of time at your house. How do you handle it? I'm like, she's like, you know what he does? He honestly just does whatever he wants to do. He really doesn't care. He doesn't worry about it. And he's just laughing at me. I'm like, huh, I just do whatever I'm gonna do, man. Because I like I said, I'm pretty easygoing. I just kind of do my own thing. Usually, when the two of them are hanging out, I'll conversate for a little bit, but then I'll get up and just go do my own thing. Like you know, I'd rather them spend more time together, and you
Mm-hmm.
can see that she enjoys it more. So it's great. It makes me feel good because I'm helping them, and it's like, well, why can't I help myself? Is the real question. So I'm working towards it. It's a work in progress. Like I said, the phone call was a major difference. I called and told her I loved her too, and that hasn't happened in like 15 years,
Yeah.
you know, and things like that too, you know. So it's little by little, and you know, every day I do this podcast and I record with different people. It's like in the back of my head, I'm just kind of like it feel like I'm evolving as a person. I'm discovering who I am now versus the person I used to be, and you know, I think that a lot of times I was watching somebody talk about this. I don't remember what they were talking about. It's like, God, what is her name now? She does the Shift Up podcast. I can't think what her name is though. She had made a good point. She said you have to expect that people are going to look at you from the way that you were. Now you're going to have to deal with that regardless. These are the people
Mm-hmm.
that seen you so like this for so many years, you know. And because people always come to me, because my siblings come to me and always say, "Oh, you sound so intelligent." What? What? Well, because you know, you have to remember when I was younger, though, I was such an angry individual. I was mad about everything. I always took everything to the 100%. You know, I just rev things up. I make
Mm-hmm.
like controversial comments. You know, I was like, if I would have looked at myself 20 years ago and said I'm a religious person now, I would have laughed at myself because I was never in that thought process because we never grew up with religion. It was never a big thing in our house, you know. And now I'm a man of faith, you know, things like that. And it's like ever since I allowed spirituality into my life, it seems like everything took a different turn, you
Mm-hmm.
know, for everything. Like this whole show came out, you know, I got a network deal right off the bat. We're part of a podcasting network, and then all these people that want to be a part of this show, you know, it's crazy because like when I started it 2 weeks in, I was already to the end of the year just for Monday alone. I was like, holy
Right.
crap. Then I added another spot. Then that went up to the end of the year. And I was like, okay, well, there's something here, man. Then came November. And when I tell people this, I was in July of 2025 by November 15th. And it was like
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2 weeks into to starting the calendar because I started the calendar at the beginning of November and I put up a digital calendar. And then I'm already out to 2025 already. People on Monday alone. This is not the rest of the week. This is just Monday. And
Right.
then when I opened the calendar up, then we really started getting more people. I was like, holy crap. So, you know, I think March alone, I did like 32 interviews in March. I was,
Wow.
yeah, that's what everybody says to me. Like, wow, like, are you tired? I'm like, a little bit, but it was exciting though. Like, you know, all the conversations you have, all the different things you find, all these people you're meeting. Like, you know, you know, then we got to do the panel together. You know,
Yep.
that was cool too. It's like these things I can never tell people I've done before. You know, and now I'm planning on writing my own memoir about myself because everybody asks about me. It's like, hey, what about Pete? And I don't really say much. I give little tidbits, but I'm like, maybe I'll just do one. And, you know, and so it's a self-titled project called The Voice of the Voiceless. So I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. Maybe I'll take on another project. Because my human design, I showed you the human design thing. It says I'm
Yeah.
a man generator. And this girl I did an interview with the other day, she was like, I bet you're something because you take on a lot of projects. She's like, I feel like you're a man generator or something like that. So the new side project is called the same thing as subtitled memoirs, Voice of the Voiceless. And basically what it is for people that want to tell a story but don't want their name to be known. So like they feel
Hmm.
too embarrassed to tell the story. They can come either reach out to me and I'll read their story, or they can come tell their story and they'll sign it, Voice of the Voiceless, meaning that, they don't want to be known, but they want their story to be heard kind of thing. So
Right.
I
Right.
thought it was an interesting concept. So that's a little side project I'm working on as well. So I have too many things going on right now. Because I have the show, I have the Patreon, I have a website coming up, I have merchandise out. It's like all these things I'm trying to juggle at once, and everybody's like, "Jesus, man, do you ever sleep?" No, no, I don't.
Well, that might help you a little bit is
It
getting some
might.
sleep. Um, so what do you do? So you have this busy life that you're building, but what do you do when you're not interviewing, when you're not on camera to help yourself with your mental health? What are you doing for
Well,
Pete?
it depends, Like I enjoy video games, so I play a lot of video games. I watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of Japanese cartoons. I'll take walks. I do all these other things. Spend time with my wife. Anything I can do that's other than mental health for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great because it feels good to just get away from it. So I know everybody's like, "Oh, you're the mental health guy. Oh, okay." Well, that's great, but when I'm not here, I'm usually kind of doing whatever, watching movies because I enjoy movies a lot. Playing a
Yeah.
game with some friends or whatever. Usually talking to somebody about something other than mental health.
Right. Right.
So it's a great release. Or I hang out with my wife or the little one since she's here. Me and her, we'll go to the park or whatever and hang out, and take her out there and go do stuff with her and things like anything I do to get away from the whole subject. Now, if I meet people, I tell them about the podcast. I'll
Yeah, of
talk to them about it
course.
because it's just a general nature. My wife rolls her eyes at me a lot of times. I start talking and go, "All right, I guess go ahead and tell them about it." It's like, well, I got to promote this thing somehow.
Yep. Well, that's how businesses start is
Hmm.
we have to promote ourselves, and
Yeah,
it's not a bad thing to promote
yeah,
yourself. It's not. I mean, it some people, I think the people who put that into place were in competition with other people, right? They were like, "Oh, you're not supposed to promote yourself. You're supposed to let other people promote you," and then they would promote themselves.
yeah. At first, it was hard. I didn't really talk to people about it, and then I started telling people about it. It's like, yeah, I do a podcast outside here. Oh, you do a podcast, and then you tell them about it, and you get mixed responses, and it's great to watch the looks on their faces when you tell them what you're doing it about.
Yeah.
And one guy, like you'd have no idea. He was literally like, "Oh hell yeah, man, I'll go check it out." And he came in the other day and he was like, "Oh hey man, I haven't had time to check it out. I'm sorry yet." Da, da, da. I'm like, dude, it's there. It's not going anywhere. It's like it'll
Right.
be there." It's like, okay, man, whatever you say. He's like, "Well, I'll promise, man. I'll go check it out." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Like, there's no big deal, man. You'll get to it eventually. There's plenty of time in the day. Trust me, you'll get to it around it eventually, and things like that too. So. It always makes me
Absolutely.
laugh though when people say that to me, like, "Oh, I'll go check it out," and they're like, "Oh, I haven't checked it out yet." Okay,
Yeah. No, I've done the same thing. It's just life happens and life gets away from you, and I'm sure that people have told me that they'll listen to my podcast,
right?
and they haven't had a chance, or they'll leave a review and they haven't left a review yet, and it's just like it's all good.
Yeah,
It's all
and
good.
people get
It's
so. Yeah, I think these people are so worried that someone's gonna say something. Well, you didn't leave a review. You just got to think of like TikTok. I don't know if you've ever been on TikTok. It's just so
I
mentally draining.
don't get on TikTok. Like I'll watch
Thank God.
reels
Thank
on
God.
Facebook or Instagram when my friends send them to me, and then I'll watch one or two after that, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going down this rabbit hole, and I'll put my phone down. But
Yeah.
I don't get on TikTok anymore. Like even if they send me TikToks, it's like I watch that one and I'm done. Like I don't even think I have the app on my phone anymore, to be honest.
I don't blame you. I'll be honest. I'll tell you right now. It's so toxic. It's not even funny though. You just like I think like it's just like I'll post stuff, but I don't really spend much time on there anymore. After like I had a really bad experience with somebody just trying to claim I'm trying to steal their cloud. I'm like I have other things, too many things going on this side of the computer, phone, whatever I'm watching this on that I
Right.
don't have time for all this crap. Y'all can keep this drama. But it's so mentally draining because then they start sending all these 20,000 invites. It's like, I know you're live. You don't have to keep sending me invites to you that you're live. I'm like, I get it.
Well,
I don't.
social media is such a demon.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is such a demon. And I look back and I'm Generation X, and so we grew up, without all of this stuff. And we were there when it all started to come out. And it's
Right.
just like I think it has its place. I love the fact that we can stay in touch with friends and
Yeah.
family without having to do snail mail or anything like that. But when it comes to building a business and building our self-worth and our self-love, it can be really, I think, detrimental in that in
Yeah.
that
That's exactly what I was
respect.
going to say. Detrimental because the things that people see, the comments that people make, it's like,
Yeah.
you need to stop reading the comments. A lot of these things that people say, and it's just, they
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
heinous.
there have been many, many pages and people that I have unfriended or unfollowed because of what they put out on their page against other people. Even if I don't particularly care for the person that they are posting things against,
Yeah.
I still find it disrespectful to put that stuff out there. Like if you don't like that
Yeah.
person, that's
Why
fine. Don't
feed
like
the,
them, but you don't
yeah.
have to be so mean about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Why feed the hate? Why continue to
Right.
feed the hate? Especially what is it, that new recent one, the Lily Tino thing, that whole thing about the person that was talking about that stuff. It's like if you stop talking about it, it wouldn't be a thing. Or the Bud
Right.
Light where they picked up the LGBTQ person to represent the brand, and everybody's like, "Well, I bought Budweiser dump," and I'm like, "You guys are like, think about what you're doing. You're buying their products still. They don't care.
Right.
They pissed you off. You're buying it out of spite, and you're still paying them money. It's like,
Yep.
why? Because you're
Yeah.
so mad. You're not thinking about what you're doing, and it's just like." It's so annoying. It's just like I look through some of these videos and I don't even share them. I'm like, I watch them really quick and I'm just like, oh God, what happened now? And it's like
Yeah.
you get through them, and I couldn't
Yeah.
even tell you what my Instagram feed is. It's some bizarre shit that comes on
Yeah,
there.
I think
Like,
I think the best thing I ever did for my mental health was I stopped doom scrolling.
yeah,
I give myself 15 minutes a day, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at lunchtime, 5 minutes at night. And it's usually because I'm watching reels that other people have sent me.
yeah.
That's my time.
I
And
try
and
to
I'll
go
go a
on
couple
and I
more and
try to
I'll
like
share
everybody's stuff. Like I'll go down and just start liking everybody's stuff,
right.
yours and a couple other people. I think one other person that does a podcast called "You Have the Power." She was like, you're the only person that interacts the most with mine. I'm like, yeah, because I'm trying to be supportive of you.
Right,
You're
right. It's
nice to
being
me, and
supportive. Right.
that's
Right.
most of the time I spend on there. But after 5 o'clock, I usually don't even have my phone on. I turn it in
Yep, I
silent.
I
I put
turn
it
on the
down.
do not disturb and I'll check it like once an hour. I certain people can come through,
Yeah.
but like
No, I agree.
I
And that's
turn off
perfect. I think that's
notifications.
fantastic that you do that, and I think people need to start practicing unplugging from shit
Yeah,
because, like, there's days where I'm like, I don't even look at my phone hardly unless I know it's something I'm looking for to come through.
right.
Like, I'll check the notifications every so often. I told my wife that after 5 o'clock, if I'm on the phone, it's because it's something important to that level. If it's not, I don't even look at it. She thought it was weird because I'll put it face down
Yep.
when she starts
I do
talking to
the same
me.
thing.
She'll start talking to me and I'll put it face down like mid conversation. Doesn't matter what it is she's saying or whatever I'm watching, I'll put it straight down.
Yeah,
And she said that was weird to her that I just did that. I'm like, why? Because I'm trying to pay attention to more to what you're saying.
exactly.
Especially
Yep.
after 5, because when you get home from work, it's like that's me and her time until I go to work. So like we'll do something, we'll play games together, we'll get online. I'll teach her the toxic culture of playing online. It's so funny because she got trolled for the first time a couple weeks ago. Goes, oh, I think I just got trolled. I'm like, oh yeah, what happened? She goes, these guys are just trash talking me the whole time. Yeah, you got trolled. It happens. Don't worry. You done news people. That's what there's a mute button for on there.
Yeah, yeah. Just ignore them.
Yeah, exactly. Because it gets ugly, man. You get to start saying things, start saying crazy things to people, and oh god, we don't need to
Yeah.
repeat Call of Duty lobbies from the '90s. They were horrible.
Oh.
God, the things we said to each other in those lobbies.
Well, put that apology out into the universe, right? So
I'm
what
sorry
would
for
you
anybody for anything I've said in those lobbies, by the way. I am really I'm sorry. Anyways.
So, what would you, as we tie up this conversation, what are some tips that you would give the listeners that are finding themselves struggling with their anxiety, struggling with their depression, and they are ready to take control of their mental health? What would your suggestions be?
Um, I say first off, get some help. Talk to somebody. Talk to somebody just to get a better idea of what it is you're dealing with. Don't take the diagnosis and be like, oh well, now I am depressed. No,
Right.
you're looking for the answer to how to fix the problem. Hey, these are the things I'm dealing with, and then get a better understanding of what it is you're dealing with. Don't take it as your diagnosis as you as identity now. So many people do that, you could say my name, like my name's Pete. I deal with these things. You're not depressing. All these other things, like we get depressed. I mean, it happens, man. There's days,
Mm-hmm.
but like, don't be afraid to reach out to people either. I feel
Yeah.
like we are losing too many people, especially males that are listening to this conversation. Don't be afraid to reach out to your friend and tell them how you're feeling. If you're having a rough day, you're having those thoughts in your head, talk to somebody because we are losing more males faster than at a faster rate than any other, whatever you want to say, gender or whatever hell you want to put it. But at 80% of us that are losing our lives, if you look at it this way, one in your group of five friends, three of them aren't going to be there for that reason because one of you all don't want to man up and just talk to somebody. It doesn't
Right.
make you less of a man, you know. Like reach out and talk to somebody, man. Hell, reach out to me if you want to. I'll listen to you. I get random messages from people all the time on any platform. I'll take it serious. You start messaging, hey, listen, I got to tell you something. Okay, well, talk to me. What's up? It may take me a minute to respond to you, but I am looking at these messages and reading what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You are being heard. I want people to understand that most importantly, like once you reach out to me, I do take it serious. I will listen to you, but if you get to the point where it gets a little too high, we may have to move you to 988 where these people are trained to handle these
Right.
situations. I am just Pete. I am not a trained professional in any way possible, but do please do reach out if you feel like you have something you need to say and you don't feel like people are listening, because I think that's the biggest thing is where we stop talking is where we start losing people, because and if you know anybody that's dealing with these problems, get them some help. Like
Yeah.
they may fight you on it a little bit, but they need help because at this point
Yep.
you don't know what their next thing is they're going to do is, and talk about your mental health. There's nothing wrong with that. Like have an open conversation about these things. Start talking to other people about it. Let's stop making it so stigmatized that we can't talk about these things. That's the whole point of Pete for Society is just to introduce you to other people that do things in other ways. So if therapy is not your way, you can come talk to Tanya, you can come talk to all these other people that we meet along the way that do other things that may work better for you. Like there's other options out there. And I think that people need to understand that, talk therapy isn't the only way to go, man. There's so many
Right.
different modalities of things that people are doing out there. It's like, then go talk to someone, go reach out to some of these people. Heck, you can reach out to Tanya if you want to. These people will respond to you. Like,
Absolutely.
most times people don't talk to you, but these people respond to, hey, listen, I need help. I've got a contact list like 2 miles long of just people I could send you to. Well, here you go. Here's these people that do these things. Or I'll ask some of them questions like, hey, I got a question for you. How should I handle this situation? So, I'm using the resources I'm building as I'm going as different people to talk to, but like talk to somebody. I don't know how many times I have to say that. Just be more vocal about your mental health. If you're
Right.
having
Speak up.
problems,
Yep.
dude,
Yep.
speak up.
Use your words, whether it's through your voice, through your writing, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but use your words, speak up and command I say command an audience with someone.
Command, definitely. I agree. Command an audience, be heard. If you're not
Yeah.
being heard, reach out. Use helphub.co. That's a new thing I just found out that even exists. Like go there if you're not even sure where to start with anything. If you know there's something going on and you're struggling with these
Yep.
things, there's something out there to help you somewhere.
Yeah.
Just reach out to somebody and one of us will help you out. Like we'll talk to some people. Like you can reach out to me. Like I said, I've got a list of contacts of people I can ask them, hey, listen, what should I go with this route? If they and then and kind of help you go from there. Like here, I'll link you up with this person, get their
Mhm.
contact. You know what I mean? I just like I said, we got to break the stigma of this thing, guys. We got to start talking about these problems and stop sweeping it under the rug. It's no longer just something that we need to overlook because too many things are happening and we're blaming this issue, but we're not fixing the issue.
Right, right. Absolutely. Pete, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, sharing your knowledge, and make sure you guys go to your favorite podcast platform and listen to his podcast, Pete versus Anxiety. Pete, thank you again so
Thank you
much.
so much. I appreciate having me, guys. And like I said, always ask, like, don't ask how your day is. Say, hey, how's your mental health today?
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I hope today's episode brought you inspiration, joy, and a spark of empowerment. Remember, transformation is an incredible journey, and every single step you take towards self-care and healing brings you closer to the life you truly desire. If this episode uplifted you, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us to share this journey of hope, resilience, and joy with many listeners. For more tips, support, and inspiration, come and visit us at designyourexistence.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and keep shining brightly. You are absolutely worth every bit of love and care you give to yourself. Take care, stay joyful, and be well.